We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
I know y'all tired of it, but we got a new season of The Past. Welcome to season 8, The Mamba Year. Podcast available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of your podcast platforms. Here you'll get a dose of content related to tech, the productivity world, and most importantly, how to be a better you. The theme for this year, personally, is receiving grace. And we definitely want to do better with receiving it and being open to being a better us from who we were a year ago. So this is season 8 of The Past, and I hope you all enjoy.
And just like that, we are back. This one may go online. It may stay with me. I don't know as of now. Precisely 2 weeks ago, time briefly stopped. And I will be open in dialogue with you all as listeners and with myself as Brian that I did not know how to feel or how to address my feelings other than to speak to those that I had bandwidth to speak to and be available to those that I could be available to. But more than anything, priority number one was just making sure my well-being was good, because that's the main focal point at the end of the day. The number one thing that you hear in life sometimes is keep the main thing the main thing. And I will be open and sharing with you all. The main thing was realizing that not only did an amazing person, man, human being help in bringing me into the world, but he made it his duty, his goal, his effort to make sure whatever it is that I was in need of, he was willing to do. He was willing to help in that being accomplished, whatever that looked like. If I wanted to play in the band, he supported me. If I wanted to get a computer, he supported me. I thought about moving, he was happy and he supported me. He wasn't in a physical aspect of having to be there. Like the two places that I moved to, or I say two, but the various places that I moved, there was never him like quote unquote coming by type of ordeal, but he always knew and he'd always remind me I had a place. It's been over 11 years since my world like flipped based on some personal choices, we'll say. And I share this story or start with this story because he was one of the first ones that reminded me that I always had a place. I always had a place to call home. And you don't think about it in the moment until you're in the moment where home home is where like you you hear quotes and you see quotes and you understand like why people share a lot of the quotes that they share. But when you really sit back and think about some of the quotes that are put out there, it it makes you really understand it a lot clearer. And one of those is home is where the heart is. And if I learned nothing else, there was never a time or never a point that my dad's heart was never in the wrong. Was never his heart was always in the right place. Because I was ready to double negative that and blow that way out of proportion. But his heart was always in the right place. His intentions were pure. He he did whatever he could to his ability. And I think about this now, even as I'm walking. His and I'll warn you now. A lot of what I'm talking about now may or may not be discussed or addressed during the podcast on Saturday. I'm in I'm indifferent if I'm gonna pack up and record or if I'm gonna use my equipment and or just if I'm gonna use the mic, the boom mic and but it's well not the boom mic, but I got a scissor arm and all that stuff to enhance my recording ability capabilities. But um he was very he was very able and willing in helping. And what I was gonna share is I think we got one case. So there was a thing without being a thing, aka a routine that I had of okay, we're low on water bottles. He prefers spring water. He likes this particular brand, this particular case, whatever, right? And why I'm starting with this is he literally, if it was low, he'd say, I don't mean to bother you. That was his famous phrase. I don't mean to bother you. I don't mean no harm. But if you could just get a pack of water, that'll be really helpful. And I had a pretty lengthy day leading up to getting him a case. But the important part of it was I got it. Like I had some stuff that I personally did and made sure I was available for those things. And then afterwards, I, took some time to myself to kind of think that particular day I remember editing the show and doing some other stuff. And the bigger piece of the puzzle, or where it really hits home, is, I went to Walmart, picked up these two um, 40 packs. Normally, for a while we were doing this, so a lot of you don't know, a lot of you may not even care, but this is just my ramble a little bit this morning as I'm wearing these struggling shorts. But it is what it is. You gotta get it moving, since I really didn't do a lot of moving yesterday. But he normally, for the longest time, I was getting 32 packs of water bottles. And then as I kept going in the store, I was like, oh, it's an extra 8 bottles in this case, which was 40. So I would get 2 40 packs of water, because anytime we got the 32s, 16 bottles don't seem like a lot, but he was drinking a lot of water. He stayed hydrated. So probably for like the last at least a year, if not longer, it was 2 cases, these 2 40 pack cases. And I went, like I said, did all my stuff that Sunday. Went and got the cases for him. And the main reason I'm sharing this story is because he had that much strength to do but what he could, which was enough, especially at 89. And he was able to, do his part in, like, helping hold the door, making sure I was good if I had any more stuff. Because he knew he couldn't lift it and physically move it, but he was like, I'll at least get the door. And I remember a lot of times he would be there, and I'm like, you don't gotta be there, I'm good, I can get through. And it's like reality set for a lot of reasons, because after I got those 2 cases, that afternoon, that night, that was the last night he was home, because he, went to the ER and went to different facilities and things of that sort. I'm not putting a whole lot of business out there, because I don't want to, I'm always being respectful, because I know who listens, but I don't know how information travels. So I'm just being really coy and 100% respectful of, like, what I'm sharing or what I'm addressing. But to think that in that time frame of him not being there, which was over a month, the cases sat there. I'm having conversations with my mom. I'm talking with people, kind of giving and sharing updates, checking in, the whole nine. And I still remember. I don't remember why it was written, but on my desk, I went back in the office for the first time in like 2 days. And on my desk was a note that said, today is July 31st, 2024. I likely wrote that as like a pen test, but I don't remember what pen I was using to write that with. But actually, I'm wrong. My brain kicked in. There was a fountain pen that I ordered. Many folks know that I'm like the TWSBI lover. Like, I have fallen in love with the TWSBI brand as a whole. I think right now I'm at 5. I have 6, but one of them I'm gifting. If they hear this podcast, surprise. But um, I have 5, and one of them is an emerald green fountain pen that has a gold tip or bronze like outer uh, clip and all that stuff. And someone came to my desk and specifically was, they were like, I want to see how it writes, or see how you write with it, because I was a pen person, so I was like, well, what am I gonna write? And I wrote, today is July 31st, 2024. I'm sorry, July 31st, 2024. And that note was on my desk when I came back a couple days ago. That was the last time I came in the office, because even down to sharing with one of my other coworkers, um, I was like, everything seems good. Seemed like he may be, we may be trying to find a way and figure out how to get him home. And when I came home and did my rendition of like room reading, the room reading wasn't good. And while mom shared the dues with me, I probably was uncertain how to address or share how I felt with all that had happened. And why I say that is because it was not something I had even remotely given thought to. Because as far as I was concerned, he seemed okay. And I had a brief, like a very, very, very brief stint where I kind of beat myself up a little bit because the last facility where he was, I didn't get to see him. But I did see him at the other location, and it was also a what I considered like an immediate family slash grand opportunity for um, my mom and my dad to like have their bonding time and cherish their relationship, their marriage, the whole nine. And I say it like that because in spite of him being like, I don't want to really eat and I'm not really hungry, he did eat. He tried. He was definitely making some efforts and some attempts to get food in his stomach. And mom shared with me the last facility where he was. It was the opposite, but it was the opposite only because he knew. And I don't want to I don't want to dwell on that. I don't want to harp on that, but I want to talk about that for a moment. Many times in our lives, we're doing what we can to put everything in a bow, wrap it up nice, and make it all look good. But in the process of that, we feel like we're there, but we're not there. Last year, and thinking back about this now, it makes sense why I had a lot of the themes that I had for different years, for life, etc. My theme this year had two. I kind of had like a theme, and if you will, a sub theme. My theme was the year of discipline. 2024 was about the year of discipline, which, all things considered, being disciplined has really been the thing. But it was about receiving grace also. I share that and I talk about that because last year my theme was, if I remember right, it was either last year or the year before. It was unfinished business. And I say that because a lot of times we are never sure or certain if we finished everything we were supposed to do or get everything done that we are supposed to get done. But the reality is, we know we're if we're in our right mind and in the right space, we know when we've done what we're supposed to do. And he knew. I I don't plan on it, but there was a audio that I did last week, and I believe it was before the service. And the best way I can say it is I gotta go back and listen to it to see if I want to make that one public. Only because there was a fair amount of vulnerability. Many of my friends have been on the socials. Now they've been online and they've seen different videos that I've posted or shared related to all that's been going on. Um, I even down to, so there's two, right now there are two videos that I have that are content based, if you will. And it's so interesting being like this online, offline dilemma where I'm off the grid because I really don't see as many people's videos and posts as I used to. But then I get on from like time to time for little packets or pockets of time or whatever. And random but not random, I found another company that I think is going to be the what I call the sweet spot between Opal, which is very huge on like explicit usage of the phone, but it's a paid subscription type of deal, and Brick, which is what I've been huge advocate of. I think I'm, if I had to check right this minute, I almost want to say my phone has been bricked for over 20 hours, might be longer. And let me tell you, it is the most reviving feeling when someone says, I sent you something, and you're like, so I've not been on there in a while. I'm not as like, I'm starting the quote unquote starting the detachment process with online content. Now, I'm still going to write short form. I'm still going to put my long form posts on Twitter and even threads, but that's about as far as it goes. Um, but I went into that tangent because I'm looking at the Dopa Fest uh, accessory. It's like it's a little cube little fidget accessory, and it has the same look and style. Like a lot of people have kind of mocked them a little bit. They're like, "Oh, it's just like brick," and I'm like, "It is, but it isn't." Like I think it's trying to do what Opal was has the potential of doing, but Opal is like, no, you need to subscribe and you need to do this uh, type of ordeal. Even down to there's another accessory, and I looked at this accessory for like over a year called Unpluck. It's UNPLUQ, and it's a little small gadget that you carry on your keychain, and it locks you from accessing multiple or various apps. But then there's a subscription fee. So it's like companies are finding ways to help you with the online versus the offline, but everyone's way or everyone's help isn't the help that is helpful, for lack of a better term. There's also another one I think I talked about on the show a while back. I might be mispronouncing it. I think it was called like Padlock or something, where it looks like the brick accessory, but it was made in the UK, and it literally is shaped like a padlock. And it's helping you do. It does the exact same thing as the brick accessory. Has a similar interface, the whole nine. So I saw that one a while back, and it kind of caught my attention for like a quick second. But I go into that and I talk about everything that's been going on. And the one thing that's so crazy is I probably detached from a lot for a while, but I've been able to get messages out there in proper form. Because a lot of times it's not even whether you want to. There are some instances and some scenarios that you have to meet people where they consume content. And again, I'm going into this now because it's even down to me talking about everything that's going on, like me getting online and doing like a video recording and uploading. I've probably been more vulnerable in the last couple of weeks than I have in my life. And it's not that I've never had the potential or opportunity to be that way. It's just now it's more evident and more relevant to just be quote unquote true to form. And at the time, again, I didn't think anything of this or understand why certain things are, are placed on me to say or share or address or whatever. But lately, it's been more about look, this is this is on my heart, this is on my spirit, and I'm not even really all that concerned about who I offend or how you may or may not feel about it. Like I've learned that where you stand with certain things ain't gonna make sense to everybody. And the good part about it is there's nothing wrong with that. We're not all intended to do everything the same. If we did, we would all be we would all just be boring creatures of habit or whatever. So I say all that when I make a point. I'm about to finish up because life be life. I'll leave it at that. But um, my closing thoughts are as follows. Don't lose sight of what your intents, your intentions, your purpose, your plan, your objective, your goals, whatever they are. And I say it that way only because there have been plenty of times that I wanted to throw in the towel. And life was like, no, that ain't how it works. So work through it. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with others around you. And as hard as it is not to, don't beat yourself up, because every day is not going to be rainbows and sunshine. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll catch y'all next time.
Truly hope you all enjoyed the show. Definitely was a lot to unpack, but I know you'll walk away with something important. As I share at the end of each season, do find your way to get into podcasting if it's something you would like to do. My podcasts are currently recorded via Buzzsprout. Been very good to me. If you want to learn more about using them, definitely hit me up at thepastbtpod@gmail.com. And also the microphone that you're hearing me on is the Blue Yeti X. Have been rolling with it for over 3 years. We've been doing this ride for quite some time, so I hope someone could find this mic useful. Again, find those people who are good or helpful in what you're trying to do to be better today than you were yesterday. The primary goal is to be 1% better. Hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll be back again to do this next time.